So first, before we get going, and I want to let people gather, I want to have any questions you two have about your potential research projects, because remember, on week 6, you're going to produce a proposal.
So the proposal in week 6.
Yeah, week 6.
Okay.
We've got the sample proposal. I believe I had that in the week 1 module. I'll double check on that. So that's got the guidelines, and it's got the suggestion. I think we actually went over it in the week 1.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Okay. So anything essentially can work as long as you can connect it in some way back to human evil and stuff we do that's naughty to each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like math classes, that's a human evil that you can do something on. I mean, it's unjust, and why should it happen, right? Okay. So what are you guys thinking about for your topics?
I don't really have one yet.
Okay. So, but what are you thinking about? What are you interested in? Okay. Here comes Aaron. Okay. Because essentially the topics that are going to work the best are going to be those that you have that get under your skin, that bother you, that excite you.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, Aaron. Okay.
How you doing?
Pretty well. Can you put your camera on?
I'm not home, so
You're not home.
I'm gonna be home.
Okay, because I'm saying I'm hideous and I put my camera on, so that's something to work with there. Okay.
Okay.
So James, you don't have an idea, but what sorts of things are you interested in? Let's see if we can build something from there.
What do you mean as far as what am I interested in? I don't know.
What sorts of topics? Now remember, the topic is going to be inspired loosely by marrow thieves. So marrow thieves concerns racism. It concerns lack of equal opportunity. It involves social justice or the lack thereof. It involves climate change. It involves religion. All of it, essentially anything there. There's a lot of room you can work with. Okay.
I guess I go with religion.
Okay, so what you would do is then you would think about a topic, a religious topic that involves in some way a discussion of justice or injustice, and you can use that as your topic.
Okay.
So, and it could be wide ranging. So, for example, on religion, you could do something as far back as the logic of the Inquisition. Okay. Or even the Catholic policy toward LGBTQ, anything.
I wouldn't want to write about that. Let's go.
Yeah, well, you don't have to. You don't have to. Just don't want to open that can of worms.
Yeah, no, thank you. No,
Okay.
thank you.
Well, how about priestly rape? How about that? That sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Oh, actually, it'd be better. It'd be better.
Now, I want to be clear. When you say better, you're not in favor of it. You just
find
it in.
No, it'd be easier to write about without people being as angry. You know. Yeah.
That makes sense. So frankly, the topics are wide open, because essentially anything you find interesting that it relates to injustice in some way, that could be a topic for your research paper. So I've had students write on the Holocaust. I've had students write on the U.S. immigration policy. I've had people write. Last semester, a student wrote his on the genocide between Hutus and Tutsis in Rwanda.
Yeah, I was watching that on YouTube. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy, and it's how quickly the government solidified itself behind just constant murder.
Yeah, it did.
Mm-hmm. So, frankly, anything you got now, Lama. I believe you're all set on a topic.
I'm thinking about cloning,
okay.
Like ethical or like. Still not sure, but around this, I start to find like some researches. So just put it down so I can start the ideas.
The topic is fine. You just want to find a narrow focus on it. Okay. For example, a question of what should U.S. law be about cloning? That would be a topic that would be fine.
Yeah, or maybe ethical or not. Yeah. Okay.
That would be fine. So if you know that's what you want to research, we'll formalize this on week 6, but you can start doing your research right now.
Okay.
Okay, Aaron, do you
And
have an idea what the?
we can go to the BBC library. From
Mhm.
there, we can find our sources.
That's
So
where you start.
just search from the top, or how I can go, because I went there so many like category. I'm not sure where to go.
Okay, so
So
let's start with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And then we can go to, now the website has changed. I think it was the beginning of spring, of fall this year. So when you go to the home website, okay. It clicks on my VVC.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my VVC, you look for the library, which is right beside the VVC home page on that. And then the library. And they'll bring it up. It'll come in this particular order. So notice that these tabs are kind of guides for what the way you should go about your research. You have the library catalog, and that is basically books, ebook. There are a lot more ebooks now, so there are a lot more ways of getting access to this material without having to pick up a physical book. Okay. And article databases, okay, internet resources, research tools. So all these little things are there to help you. Now, another thing to think about going forward in the future is the One Book, One College is that has, when you get to the Marrow Thieves, this has some resources we can look at that, right? Okay, so this is all on the homepage of the Victor Valley College Library. So I'm going to suggest starting with the library catalog, clicking on that, taking a look for books on your topic. Okay, and you can search it here and do it that way, and it'll go beyond that. The databases are something I really want to emphasize, and I do plan on talking more about this later. And I believe I've got a video on the research methods. You guys are probably sick of videos framing me. George Clooney would not do it for me, so I had to do the videos myself. So
that's fine.
Okay.
It's
So
not
notice we
helpful, so it's good.
I'm sorry, what?
It's helpful, so it's good.
It is. Okay. So we have the databases by subject. So what I would suggest is go to what we call discipline-specific databases. In other words, go to the ones that are most like what you're talking about. So for example, if we're talking about cloning, look at these subjects here. And okay, all subjects, topics, and issues, art and music, geography, government, any of these, which do you think would most likely be the one that's focused more precisely on questions that arise around cloning?
Maybe
science, technology,
science and technology,
or philosophy and religion.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So look at these. So what you do is you try these first. And let's say you're going science and technology. And what you notice is it's broken into a bunch of different databases. Now, Lama, if you were here years ago, we've got massively more databases now than we used to have.
Okay.
And I'm all sorts of happy about this. So what you would do is you'd click on this and you do the search. Now, right now, because our major focus today needs to be on the Winright Summary, I don't want to spend a lot of time with this. Okay, but I'm suggesting you guys go and get some hands-on with this. Play with them a little. I'll just play with them. I'll just look at one, and basically it's going to look like this.
Oh, okay.
And for these databases, you want to look for something that says full text and peer reviewed. It isn't always right here, but usually on the main page of the database, they'll have something that picks full text. Now, any guesses why you want to select sources that are full text?
So we get all the information?
Yep, so you have the whole article, because not all the articles on these databases are the whole articles. It's frustrating to look and see that, well, there's a title. The title would be perfect for me, but there is no essay.
Okay.
So you get this. Other things, and we will talk more about this later, and then it's peer reviewed. What that means is these are academic journals.
Okay.
So you want to practice working as an academic, which means you want to start by practicing getting academic sources, ones that have been in journals, okay, ones that are written by academics. Okay, that's one of your purpose. Essentially, anytime you're doing you're performing a function anywhere in the world, one of the things you need to do is figure out what's the function you're performing, what's the best way to do it, right? So like if you're working in a restaurant, you learn their rules, you learn how they do it. Even if you're going to do it a different way, you do it that way when they're there. Okay.
Right.
When you're in academic world, you want as quickly as possible to develop the tactics and methods of academics.
Oh.
So I'm going to say this lightly. I'm going to see if we have anybody else wanting to add, but no. I'm going to say this lightly, but it's you play the game that you're in, right? So this is an academic game. So get the peer reviewed, and then you search up. I'm just kind of curious. Let's see what we have on cloning. You're obviously going to want to narrow it a little bit more than that.
Yeah, maybe okay.
But let's see if they have any articles on cloning, full text. Okay, 1 of 20. Frankly, I was expecting there to be more, but notice, and then notice these. All of these are scholarly journal, which is another word for for academic, for peer reviewed.
Okay.
So all of these would be good research sources for some topic, maybe not exactly for yours, but those are the ones you would do for that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Then after you do that, look down these, a green file, all these different ones that are science and technology. Then you can take a look back for all subjects and topics and issues. Now for cloning, I'd suggest trying topics and issues because there's a decent chance they will have something on it. Okay. So what I'm suggesting is the basic pattern you use is you start with discipline specific journal databases, then go to the general interest ones.
Okay.
So opposing viewpoints and context, what that is a kind of pro and con thing. So if there are controversial issues that are talked about, this will work with them.
Okay.
Okay. So notice digital divide, all these different topics, and you can just type in your topic. Okay. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they have articles on that. Again, you're going to want to narrow it more. So notice they have a section on cloning. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not going to really have a problem finding a lot of sources. It's more likely to be a problem that you want to find the precise ones that are helpful to you.
The one, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And then in all subjects, we have academic search complete and master file complete. These overlap a lot with each other. They have many of the same sources, but after you go through the discipline specific databases, then go to these.
Okay.
So the wonderful things about the databases is they are literally thousands of sources that you don't have access to any other way.
Oh.
Okay, and I want to double check this, but I believe, in fact, let's do this again. I believe I have a video on this, on these approaches here. Okay, article databases.
In the week 2?
Yeah, I think it's in week. I don't know if it's. Don't remember if it's in week 2.
Because I didn't finish the whole one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see here where you guys are. Okay, it's sometime. Research guidelines. 3 phases, 3 phases of research. So I'll have to search it. If you guys want, I can put that in the week 3 module. So you have it out there as a kind of starting place for what your research is going to be.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice. Okay. The bad news, it's the video of me. So that's not a major selling point. Okay. Okay. Any other questions about the research proposal?
No.
Okay. So remember, anytime you feel you have a question for me, please feel free to ask it through Canvas inbox. Also, do any of you come on campus, or are you just virtual at VVC this semester?
I am in both.
What? You're both?
Yeah.
I'm
so I believe I posted my office hours, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So feel free to drop by those office. Also, you're going to notice that I'm here a lot more than my office hours display. And anytime if you see me in, please drop in. Okay. Do not feel like, oh, it's not office hours, so I can't come. I mean, I'm a teacher. This is my job. This is my life.
Yep.
Okay. This is okay. And I would love to see any of you, okay, for real, rather than this one-dimensional thing.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. Or to see you with a mask on. That's where we still are. Okay. Okay. Any questions about the research paper?
No.
Okay. Let's talk about the Winright Summary. Okay. That is going to be pressing. That's going to be due over the weekend. I don't think I've set an exact date for it, but it's going to be over the. Okay. And what it is, it's a review of Tobias Winright's essay. No, we can still reimagine and reform the police.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you guys read it?
Yes.
Okay. What are
Yes.
your thoughts?
I'm for police reform.
Do you
Yeah.
Okay? Do you agree with the way that he wants to go about it, the social peacekeeper model?
Well, I don't really understand what he's saying, but yes.
So when you're looking for an argument, okay, there's some techniques to use. Okay, first of all, and let's put these up on notes so you have them. Okay. So one of the first tactics is to look for explicit statements. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what do we mean by explicit is where they directly, in no uncertain terms, say it. Okay. Now, okay, I'm going to go back through this. Okay. Then read. Okay. Read the examples or the implicit connections. So what that is implicit comes from imply.
So we can apply the code he put in our summary.
Now what again?
We can write the code he write in our summary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You do want to quote, but most of your quoting is going to come in the body.
Oh.
In the body, okay.
In the body of the essay. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go to this. Okay. So what you're going to tend to do is you're going to tend to find the explicit arguments most often stated in the introduction or the conclusion, the beginning or the end of the essay, right? That's where it's going to most often be find. That's not always where it's going to be, but it's going to tend to be there. Not always, but and the reason for that is because writers are going to tend to place the stuff that they really want us to pay attention to toward the beginning of the essay where it grabs our attention, and toward the end of the essay where we leave the essay with that in mind.
Yeah.
It's a technique you could use on your own, and it's part of the pattern that I call 2-3-1. So this is for your notes. So have this in your notes. So with the 2 is second most impact. 3 is connecting material. One is most impact. And what it means is, all things being equal, material here at the beginning stands out more than material in the middle, and material here at the end stands out more than material in the beginning. The way I'm typing this out. Now, I want you to notice something here. For some reason, my margin has changed on me, so I can adjust this through the ruler bar and change it back. Be on the lookout for that. Okay. Okay. If you're in Word and you don't have a ruler bar, okay, you can get that with this. Just click on View and Ruler. Okay. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. So the introduction, body, conclusion works very much on the 2-3-1 principle. Okay, when we hear something at the beginning, it stands out because it's the first thing we hear, right? Like the old saying, you never have a second chance to make a good first impression.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's okay. What again?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, but also some material stands out more at the end, as in the old saying, okay, save the best for last, right?
Right.
Okay. So for the overall process of an essay, you create impact by suggesting something in the introduction, okay, by proving it in the body, and then by restating at the end. Now, if you want a further discussion of this pattern, I just filmed another video and just did film it. I'm actually wearing the same sweater. I did it 4 hours ago, and so it's posted at I believe at the bottom of week 2.
Okay, I'll watch
on that module. Okay, that's just a discussion of it's just a discussion of introduction, body, conclusion in general. Okay. And it lays out the template we're going to use all semester, and a template I also kind of want you guys to use on your own. I'm going to see people in bigger form here. I'll come back to this. The pattern I lay out in this semester, I want you to treat that as a kind of starting place for patterns you're going to use in essays overall. So what that means is, let's say next semester, frankly, even this semester, if you have a class like a psychology class and they have an essay and they don't give you a specific template they want you to follow, use the template I've gotten here. I've given you here. I want to put that template and the feel of that template into your muscle memory. So it's an automatic default. We're going to play with it in different ways, but it's still going to be the same basic template. Okay, and in general, the introduction sets up what you're going to talk about. It looks forward toward the body. The body systematically talks about what you suggested in the introduction, and the conclusion looks back at everything you've talked about, reminds us of what's important about it, and leaves us with a final idea. Okay, that's the pattern I should feel over and over in your essays, and hopefully, if everything works out well, by the end of this semester, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to think, what do I do with an essay? You've done it.
Yeah.
You just adapt this template to other purposes. And again, I can't say it often enough. If a teacher gives you another template, follow that template. Okay, they know what they want, follow what they're doing. But if they don't, which is very often the case, fall back on the training we have in this class. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay, so let's take a look more at this. Okay. So when we're looking at the arguments, okay, remember what the argument is the point the writer wants us to think, believe, or do, right? So with Winright, you're looking for what is the heart of his argument. Okay, taken as a whole, what do you think he wants us to do? Okay. Now I do want to remind you, okay, and then look at the examples. Look at the examples and how do they develop. Okay. Do you guys need to see this screen anymore here?
No.
Have you got everything here?
No, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
So, okay, with Winright, okay, it's clear he's in favor of some form of some type of reform, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what would you call the reform he's looking for? And then you're also looking, does he have a term for it?
No.
So I'm going to share screen again, and I want to bring up the win rate. So I want to remind you guys that we've got some other aids in this. So notice in the MAR, in this week's MAR, we have the essay itself. Now the Winright Summary directions, those are here. Have you guys looked at those?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Also notice that if you want it in a printable form, there's a print at the bottom that you can just print this out and have it there. I don't know about you, but I prefer, but I'm an old soul. I would prefer to have everything in print on my hand that I could hold, okay? Which is an irony teaching an online class, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have this, and while we're here, let's just talk about the basic things you're going to do, okay? So first of all, these notes are first about summary in general, and second about the Winright Summary in particular. Okay. So I'm going to go to the print version of that, okay, and find this passage. Okay, so here are the basic rules of thumb when you're doing Winright. Don't worry, I want to get back to Winright's argument, and we want to talk about that. Okay, don't assert your opinion. Okay, so this essay is going to be about 2 pages long. I should not, as a reader, have any idea whether you agree with Winright or not until the last couple paragraphs of the essay.
Okay, so we have to put our opinion on it.
You can at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
But let's say no more than 2 paragraphs at the end of your opinion. Okay. So whether you agree with him or not, okay, whether you partly agree, totally agree, or just totally disagree, I, as a reader, should have no idea what you're thinking about it until the last couple of paragraphs, because most of this essay is going to be just neutral summary. And that's the hardest point for most people. For most people, when they're talking about something, they want to talk about their opinion. But remember, you don't have the right to an opinion until you've stated the opinions of the sources you're talking about.
Oh.
Okay, you don't have a right to an opinion until you've earned it by summarizing them neutrally. How many of you are not looking forward to that part of it? It's almost always the part that students have the hardest time with.
Oh,
Yeah.
seems easy.
Okay, yeah, but okay, so you guys will be cool. I'm assuming
It's for
everybody
you.
who is not what? I'm
It's
assuming
good for you. It's so easy.
okay, but I'm assuming everybody who is not here today, okay, is going to be very judgmental and wrong, right? That's what we got to assume by not attending the Zoom lectures, right? So you have that, and what you do is you don't assert your opinion until the end. Okay, so it's like you're putting down a layer of what did Winright say. You're just neutrally summarizing it. Okay, and you do what we call stay close to the text, which means that every single point you're making, there's a place in that essay that you can find it. Okay. A little bit we want to go to what Winright's argument is, but the foundation is going to be, what did he argue? What are the examples? How did he argue with them, right? Okay, then you quote key elements that are central to the writer's ideas. Okay, now what I want to do in a minute is I want to take a look at the markup I've done of the Winright essay, so you can take a look at the things that I've found important, and you can kind of model what you do with anything you're reading on what I've done there.
Okay.
Okay. Out of curiosity, did you look at the Winright? I think it's called Winright Highlights Notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Lama, what did you notice there that you might use on your own?
The one you noted.
Yeah.
You just highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Well, I would have highlighted, except my printer at home, okay, is an inkjet, so it doesn't dry. So if you look at the very beginning of the thing I tried to do with the highlighter, it's smudged.
It's much. Yeah.
So I had to use a pen.
Oh.
Okay.
And that's why I'm
yeah,
bitter.
you did
That's why I'm
the
bitter.
writing
What?
on all of it. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. Okay. So I would.
But you make it
far,
easier. Thank you. You make it easier. You point things. I'm like, okay, now I get it. Yeah.
Now, Lama, did you find out did you notice that? I'm assuming you read it after you read the essay itself, the article itself, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice that did you notice I highlighted or underlined a lot of the same things that you were noticing?
Yes.
Okay. So what you should do with that is you should reassure yourself you're not off track, that you're noticing things are not. And another thing about highlighting and noting is there's really no wrong way to do it, because you're paying attention to what you find interesting. And then the notes in the margin are, what do you find interesting about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So cover the examples mostly in the order. So one of the main structure for the body of the essay is going to be the structure of the essay you're talking about. So you're going to talk about his examples, and it goes. Okay. So we want to go down farther in the handout. Okay. And then you're going to start with, what does a writer explicitly say, generally in the introduction or conclusion? This is basically the notes I gave just a couple minutes ago. What grounds? Now, the major types of grounds you're going to use are going to be examples, going to be quotes from the source. So one of the things we're going to have to work out more next week is quoting. Okay. Right now we're just talking about summary. We're just getting a handle on how to do the essay. Okay. But what I want you to do is I want you to take a look ahead and look at the argumentation handout and notice the pattern of quoting in it. Okay. And use that in your essays. Okay. Now, before I forget, I need to give you guys I want to give you guys a way to start the essay. So I'm going to suggest here, use this opening to Winright Summary. Okay. Okay. No, we can still reimagine and reform the police bias. Winright argues in favor of the social peacekeeping model. Okay. I'm just going to give you the opening sentence. Okay, and we'll decide the price for this later on. Okay, so that use that sentence. So what I want you to notice is one of the moves I want you to make kind of your default move for this class is, if you're talking about a text, the instant you start talking about that text, I hear the writer's name. Okay.
Oh.
I want to hear it in the first sentence. Okay. Okay, Lama, you're arriving at school now?
Yes.
Okay. So is it going to
2 minutes?
Is it going to change? It changes any when I switch to Tuesday at 12 o'clock, or am I going to have to?
The same thing. I have Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
Tuesday and Thursday, the class.
Okay. How dare other regularly scheduled classes intrude upon my setup at the last moment class?
No.
Okay. So what we want to do is you got this opening, use this. Now, when you do this, okay, when you start like this, statement explanation example is going to kick in. If I say he argues in favor of a social peacekeeping model, you're going to explain what a social peacekeeping model is, and you're going to give examples, give an example of it, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes it easier, because
yeah,
I wasn't sure what to write about.
Yeah, that's like more understandable.
Exactly.
Yes.
So what you want to recognize is, no matter what type of writing you're doing, no matter how long it is, no matter what the topic is, no matter what the focus is, statement explanation example is always in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to do that. So in earlier essays in the C drill, you practice talking about a food you like. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So if you're talking about, for example, when I talk about Chicago pizza, what do I like about Chicago pizza? What are the qualities that go into it, right? Now here, I'm saying that this particular source argues in favor of the social peacekeeping model. So I want to ask you, what are the questions that pop in your head if I say this sentence to you?
If you said what?
If I say he argues in favor of the social peacekeeping model, what questions occur to you?
Oh, what is the peacekeeping model?
Exactly.
What is the
Exactly.
And what social people, what the people in the society say also. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in the first paragraph, all you're really doing is saying, what is the social peacekeeping model and why is he in favor of it? That's
Oh,
really your task for the first paragraph.
So we're gonna explain what the social keeping in our word, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lama, that's a good point. You don't necessarily need to quote. In fact, I would suggest not quoting in the first paragraph. Okay, but for an essay this short, the first paragraph is your introduction. The last paragraph is your introduction. The last paragraph is your conclusion. The rest
Okay.
is body. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to use this sentence and then you're going to explain. In fact, I'll put that in notes. So write a paragraph that's about 7 sentences long. What the social peacekeeping? Why he prefers it. That's your task in the first paragraph. Then for the body, you're going to go basically start with his first example. Show it, quote it, explain what it means. Okay. So I'm going to give you, anytime you're talking about a source, here's a basic pattern you're going to use. And the first thing is, what does the writer say? Okay. What does it mean? What do you think about it? Okay. For the whole essay, that's your pattern. What does the writer say? What does it mean? What do you think about it? Now, later on, we're going to go in more precise forms where you do this for individual quotes, right?
mhm.
But for right now, for this essay, since it's summary, for the first about page and a half, all you're doing is, what does the writer say? What does it mean? You're going to hold off the what do you think about it until the end of the essay.
Okay.
So our opinion comes at the end, and
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to leave.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Lama. See you.
Thank you. See you.
Okay,
Bye.
have fun.
Thank you.
Okay. So often the hardest part for people in this is understanding that you don't have an opinion until you've shown the evidence. Okay, we want to pop in on what we think about the reform movement, but you don't have time for that, okay, because you have to say what he says until at the very end, after you've summarized his whole essay and gone through his examples, then you have a right to an opinion.
Right.
So let's say for this essay, I don't want to hear your opinion until the very last paragraph of the essay.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we also state opposing views, or do we just have
Not
to
in
stick
this
with
essay.
it? Oh,
Okay. That's going to come in the argument essay. But for this essay, now when you say opposing views, as long as the opposing views are your own, that's fine.
oh,
Okay,
okay.
but this is the summary. What we're practicing here is a very narrow assignment, which is, what does this one source say? How well do you quote from that source? How well do you bring in the ideas? And then how well do you respond to that one source?
Oh, okay.
In
Okay.
later essays, you can branch out. For example, in your research paper, you're going to be able to bring in sources that bounce off of other sources, but we're not at that point yet. Okay. In the argumentation essay, which we're going to start on next week, you're going to bounce two ideas off each other: Winright's essay and Helfgott's essay. Okay. They disagree with each other about reform, but they agree with each other about a lot of different things, such as the need to reform.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't have any essay that's saying no, don't defund the police in any particular way,
Oh,
because most people, how would I put this? Most of us nowadays pretty much agree that there's some pretty horrible things that have happened with policing, and that there are racist overtones, and something needs to be done about them in some way. It's just a question of what form of reform do we want.
yeah.
Okay. Hi, Melissa. Welcome. Okay. Okay. Can you guys pop on your cameras? Always have to beg for it. Yay.
Hmm.
Okay. How's it going, Melissa?
Good.
Good. Okay. We'll take care of that.
I'm
Okay.
at work. Sorry.
You're at work. Sorry about that. Okay. So again,
you're
if you have
fine.
to pop off or go blank, I understand that.
It's okay.
Okay. I just wanted to see physical evidence that you exist.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do. Okay. Okay. So we're going. Okay. Again, this is being recorded. I should be able to put it up fairly up on the website fairly quickly. Okay. But for now, you want to work with us. Now we're working with the Winright Summary.
Mhm.
Melissa, do you have any questions about what you're doing on the Winright Summary, which is going to be due this weekend?
No, I pretty much understand every detail on it and been working on it, so it should
Okay.
be done on time.
But I do want you to pay attention to. I just gave the class the opening line I want you to use,
Okay.
and this is it.
Yeah, and I read that part too.
Okay.
So
Okay,
okay.
well, I was up to, so just use that. Normally, I don't say give the opening line, but one of the things I want you guys to kind of practice is the method of when you're talking about a text, the first thing you do when you move to talking about that text is identify the text. Okay. So here I want the writer's name and I want the title of the essay. When you go to the short story analysis after the argumentation, we're going to want that too, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's talk very briefly about Winright. Okay, what do you guys see as his argument? And I want to bring up the essay. Okay. So here we have the text. Okay. So the first thing you want to think about with any sort of essay like this is what is his argument? Okay, what does he want us to believe, think, or do? Okay, and the people who are early here at the beginning. Okay, what were the guidelines I set for finding the explicit argument? Good. Okay. Okay, I like the look there, James. That's great.
The guys were identifying his argument.
Yeah. Where should you look first?
Look for explicit statements
Okay, and where are the explicit statements most likely to be found?
in their arguments.
You are so right about that.
Yeah,
That's
in the
exactly-
beginning of the paragraph or
Yeah,
beginning?
the
of
beginning, in the introduction, and conclusion.
Okay, introduction.
It's not foolproof, but most often that's where it's going to be explicitly stated. So we take a look at his opening paragraph, and we find this. Now, do we have his whole argument? Do we have part of his argument? After the deaths of George Floyd and others at the hands of police, the righteous refrain "Black Lives Matter" is clearly justified. Is that his argument? Is a whole essay written to prove that?
Oh, okay.
This is the question we're going to go, because sometimes you're going to find the main argument, sometimes you're going to find what we call supporting arguments. So supporting arguments are things that are necessary to prove what he's talking about, but that's not the whole essay. So the test here is he's not right. I'll just go ahead and say it. He is not writing this whole essay to prove that it's the Black Lives Matter. He's not writing this whole essay to prove that that's so. His whole point is about what does he want to do about police reform. So where you find what he wants to do as police reform, that's where you have his whole argument, right?
Oh, okay.
So I would call the Black Lives Matter is clearly justified. That's a supporting argument. It's one of the points he makes that is not the whole point of the essay, but is supporting the point of the whole essay.
No, because he can use that how it involves itself with police reform, or
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So from that opening moment, we notice that he very much is in favor of Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, can you be in favor? Can you be opposed police reform and still be in favor of Black Lives Matter?
Yes.
Of course. Of course, there are wide range of opinions. Now, here we're getting to the point of view of the point you can make at the end of your essay. You are entirely free based on his point on agreeing with him, partially agreeing with him, or mostly disagreeing with him. You're absolutely free to go whichever way you want on that, but it starts with what he says. Okay. So he is going to say it's clearly justified. Less clear are the movement's expectations for policing in the United States. That's not his argument. He's just kind of saying, what do we do with Black Lives Matter? Michael J. Cox, a Catholic ethicist, wrote, "We must imagine a world without policing," and the journalist Josie Duffy Rice wrote in Vanity Fair that it is time to, quote, "eradicate this Jim Crow system of public safety and policing as we know it." Does that sound like his whole essay is there to prove that? It doesn't to me. For one thing, why would his argument be in somebody else's words?
I don't know. It wouldn't, I guess.
It wouldn't. It'd be a weaker argument if it's somebody else's words. Now, I'm not saying you don't use other people's words to support yours, but you don't generally give the microphone over to somebody else to say what you're going to say, right?
Right.
Okay. So what we do with this is Michael J. Cox. Okay, we store that in our minds and we say, well, he's mentioning this person by name. He's quoting ideas from this. Is this person's idea? Are these person's ideas important? So we're not at all surprised later on at the end of the essay when he comes back to him. That's one thing you want to look at in your essays, because very often if you quote somebody in the beginning of the essay, we're thinking you might come back to that person. Okay. So both Jay Cox and Josie Duffy Rice, well, he comes back here, okay, quoting this. So for both of these two people he quotes in his first paragraph, those are sources he's going to use. Those are also sources he comes back to. So one of the things I want to suggest to you for your own writing or any writing is pay attention to how when writers plant something at the beginning, they're probably not going to abandon that thing altogether, right?
Yeah.
Do not be surprised if you quote somebody in the first paragraph and come back to them later on in the essay. Okay. And don't be surprised if you find yourself using that technique on your own. But we don't really have his main argument. We know he's in favor of Black Lives Matter, and we know that he's got some questions with the way policing happens today, right?
Yes.
So Jim Crow law. Now, any question about what Jim Crow is?
No, not really.
Okay. Okay, James, you know full well what Jim Crow is.
Well, I think yeah, there are laws that are supposed to stop people from getting rights that they're owed.
Yeah, very much so. And so the Jim Crow laws, there's segregation laws. Okay, they're named after a minstrel character. Okay, a kind of step and fetch it minstrel character, and so they're very much racist. They're very much racist laws. Okay, so we get the idea from this that America may be on the verge of Jim Crow law, right? We don't have it officially. Then he goes off and he questions this, as I would like to emphasize, as we know it. Okay, although much or most of the history of U.S. policing can be connected to racism, there's more to the story. Now, how many got a little bit sidetracked by this story about that he tells about Robert Peel? Oh, got to warn you guys, I'm running low on battery space. I thought my battery life was better than that. So if I suddenly pop out, it's because my battery died.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. I had to plug mine in. I was like, man.
So Robert Peel. Now, okay. Also, I want to suggest, in case, oops, I did that again. In case we die here and without time, I want to remind you that I have a full lecture on this essay. Okay. So we have this November 1 lecture, a sketch of Winright's argument in week 2 tasks. Okay. So thing I want to caution you on that, I just go over. Actually, this is taken from a previous class. So ignore the things in the discussion that focus on what that class is doing, because that class's week 2 are different things from your week 2. Okay, but pay attention to the Winright argument. And so, and I go over that in more detail. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see here. Where is it? Okay. But for the time we hear, we're going to have to close in just a little bit because of my my space here. But I want you to notice what Robert Peel is doing there. Did it make sense that he's talking about the 21st century, and suddenly he's talking about the history in 1829?
I guess he's just trying to make an example,
Okay.
or you know, establish his story
And the story of what policing should be. He's
Mm.
going to, okay, so when he goes to the history, he talks about how it started in 1829, and then in the Civil War it changed. So at the bottom of that first column, okay, there's the problem, and then the key of why he's using it here is okay, here in the second column. Okay. So what I want, let's look at that sentence there. For years, criminologists have imagined alternatives to the military model of policing. So what we have now, he calls a military model of policing, with heavy SWAT teams, with armor. Okay, you know, it's the police at any protest. For example, a Black Lives protest. Okay, they come out and they look like they're preparing for the savages to hit the gates, right?
Right.
Okay. Much less so for don't get me started on that. Okay, so they're going to do this, and this is something that's set up. This is the military model of policing. The philosopher John Kleinig, for example, in his book, The Ethics of Policing, argues for a social peacekeeper model, which achieves Peel's community-oriented approach and acknowledges the non-negotiable force at police disposal without transforming it into police raison d'etre. Now, raison d'etre means reason for being. Okay. So what he's saying here is that Peel gave the model for what policing should be. Okay. The modern version of what Peel wanted is Kleinig's social peacekeeping model. So notice this takes us back to that first sentence of the essay. Okay, right now you're starting by saying, this is the social peacekeeping model. Here's what it is. Here's why it's important.
Oh, okay.
So that's what you're going to do with that. Okay, my laptop is about to die. Okay, do you guys have any questions before death?
No.
No. Oh, funny.
Well, I'm assuming sometime before you die, you're going to have more questions, but before my computer does. Okay, Melissa. Okay, how are you doing on picking a research topic?
Honestly, I haven't. I mean, I have ideas, but I'm still kind of like, I have like a brain fart, you would say, because I haven't really picked one yet. I'm still like having. I mean, there's a lot to choose from. Honestly, I don't really know what to choose, and I want to choose something to connect with, you know, to give a really good research paper on it. But I'm having trouble. I mean, maybe I could probably use a little assistance. But
yeah. So what I'm planning on doing is probably about week 4. I want to put up a discussion board to have for a couple weeks for you guys on it. Also be on the lookout for a discussion board next week about the argumentation essays, about Helfgott and about Winright. Be on the lookout for that. Okay. I would suggest go with your gut. If there's something, a social issue, an injustice, or a justice that really catches your attention, research it. Okay. So for example, do you work in the healthcare?
Yes.
I kind of guess that. Is there an issue of injustice in the healthcare? Okay.
It's my boss. Sorry.
I'd forgotten how fun Zoom was. Okay. Melissa, you wanted that death to be sooner rather than later now, right? Okay. My coworkers want me to look silly, right?
Right.
Pretty much.
Okay. So is there something you do something perfectly well in healthcare, if that's what you're interested in?
Okay.
Frankly, anything anything that involves some sort of level of injustice and the exploration of the ramifications of it, okay, is going to be fine.
Okay.
Okay. So I've
How
had
about-
students, go ahead, James.
How about like the way they keep making us put on these face masks?
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
we
you can explore the validity of the masking mandates.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Except be careful. The thing to watch for is if you're arguing against the most of the research is going to oppose you.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, most of the medical research is going to suggest that that masks cannot stop everything. Okay, but if there's a pandemic and if there's a disease going out, it's more likely to stop it than not having it.
Mm,
okay.
Yeah, that's the thing to watch out for. Okay, and you will find some really wild websites.
Oh.
Okay, they are not going to be good research websites.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so actually you could do research on the conspiracy theories about it.
Oh, so we can even do conspiracy theories too?
Oh yeah, there's a conspiracy theory about everything, especially the vaccine.
Oh,
Okay,
like
like
the
my
one
favorite
where
conspiracy theory on that was that Bill Gates was having a microchip put into us through the through the vaccine. And as somebody who looks like Bill Gates, I take personal affront at that.
Yeah. Okay.
So just follow what you're interested in. I just warn you about that particular topic that you're going to run up against. If you're going against the mask mandate and you're arguing against masks being helpful at if you're arguing in favor of them being totally useless, the medical research is not going to support you. What you can do is argue about the legal ramifications of it, whether it's constitutional, whether it's as effective as it could be, or whether it's effective the way that it's being done.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I say I were to pick like how they, of course, in the health field, how they want everyone in healthcare to be vaccinated, could I use that?
Yeah.
As an argument essay?
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's
research.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can talk later about the angles you're going to take on that. But one of the challenges you're going to run into that is, since it's such a recent event, the pandemic is so recent, there wouldn't be as much research on that as there would have been on earlier topics, such as just the effectiveness of vaccination itself.
Okay.
That's not a
That
deal.
makes
That's
sense.
not a deal breaker. That's not a deal breaker, but it's something that you're going to want to be aware of.
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah. That's right. That's correct. Okay.
Okay. If there are no other questions, I better click off here before I get absolutely turned off. Okay. So guys, feel free to contact me with any questions that you have. Okay. Take a look at the videos on this week about the argumentation, about the basic essay form, about the Winright summary. I go into that argument, Winright's argument, in much more detail.
Okay.
Okay. And then next week, read Janet's Healthcott. Be on the lookout for the discussion board. I'm going to open up for it, because that's really going to be the only way we're really going to be able to have much total class discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I will see you guys next week. Now, remember, next week I'm planning on doing this on Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday at the same time. But think about other times that might be more convenient. For one thing, on Tuesday and Thursday, I don't have a class until 2:20.
Oh.
I come here usually sometime around 7. I have a flexible schedule. Okay. Okay, I could twist it around. I'm somewhat less open on Monday and Wednesday, but if you guys want me to have a session on Monday and Wednesday, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, see you guys next week. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Have
Try
a
not
good
to
one.
have too much fun. Okay. Okay, bye.